Over 2 years ago, I started a simple yarn destash, and little did I know that I was subconsciously planting a seed that would eventually take over other parts of my life and finally, all this time later, lead me to 2026, the year of less. Hi friends, welcome back. I'm MC, and today we're talking about my 2026 goals, and we're going to take a little bit of a roundabout way to get there, but I promise it has a point in the end, but we have to go back in time a little bit to get there. So in September of 2023, I posted my very first stash tracking video, and I introduced the idea of doing what I was calling an aesthetic stash down. I didn't have any real number goals or specific things I wanted to accomplish. I just really wanted my yarn stash to be inspiring and make me feel happy, and it wasn't at the time. I would look at it and I didn't feel inspired to work with any of it, and I wanted that feeling. I have since been spending so much time devoted to tracking my stash. I have been updating you monthly, every other month, quarterly, yearly, whatever, throughout these years, and I've been loving every second of it. But that organization, destashing, aesthetic reimagining slowly started eking its way into other parts of my life. So instead of just focusing on yarn, kind of makes sense that it kind of morphed on into fiber, but then into my tools. And then, well, I wanted to reorganize my books. And then I was going through my handmade wardrobe and trying things on and seeing if I wanted to keep or donate things. I got rid of so much stuff. And then I moved my office into this room, and that just continued the process of wanting to have a space that made me happy and really thinking about what things needed to be included in that. I even moved it into my digital space. I went through all of my Ravelry, my favorites, my queue, all of that stuff. Everything was touched. It has taken me 2 years to realize that at its core, what I really want is for my environment to inspire me. I want it to feel light and free and inspire creativity in me. Now, I am not delusional. I do know that sometimes life sucks and nothing feels inspiring and nothing feels good, but I want to have an environment where I feel like I can go and find myself again. Okay, MC, you've taken us 2 years in the past. Do we have a point? Are we getting anywhere anytime soon? Yes. Thank you so much for sticking along with me. We have to rehash one more thing from the past before we move forward, and that is that last year I chose a word of the year, and that word was intention. And I feel like I did a pretty good job. I wanted to be more intentional with what I created, with what I did, the decisions that I made, whether that was in my life just in general with purchases I was making or exercises I was doing at the gym or books I was reading, places I was going, things like that. But also with my projects, I wanted to be intentional about the yarn that I picked and the projects I was making. Would it fit into my wardrobe? Was I making it just because I wanted to? Did it have a purpose? And I feel like I did a pretty good job. I did fall off a little bit towards the end of the year. Kind of always happens that last push of the year gets a little bit wild and crazy, and I just let myself be free. But overall, I think that I did a pretty good job with intention, and I think it was a perfect setup for this year where I have chosen the word to be less. I want less stuff. I want to do less things. I want to be involved in less. I want to spend less time doing things that I don't want to do. I want to generally be less because I think that by being less, I will open up space for me to be more myself, more fulfilled, more comfortable, happy, free. And the more I've thought about this has been kind of ruminating in my brain for a couple of weeks now. And the more that I think about it, the more I'm realizing that I've actually already started this journey a little bit. Yes, like we started this video talking about my aesthetic stash down. I have really worked through my yarn stash. If you've been around here for a little while, you will know that I have destashed or used or passed on so much yarn over the years, but I have also gone through my handmade wardrobe. You've been there with me through that, trying it on, chatting it out, deciding what I wanted, what fit into my wardrobe, what really made me feel most happy and comfortable as myself. And although I might not have openly talked about this being a plan, you might have noticed that I have drastically decreased the number of projects that I've been working on. I kind of have, I know in recent months, I've kind of used 5 as a number that I want to keep my projects at. But it wasn't really intentional. It just kind of happened. And it started to feel really good to have less that I was working on. And so I just kept it up. A small sidebar before we continue on with my actual 2026 goals. To answer a couple of questions, I am wearing the Netty vest. This is my original sample of the Netty vest I made with hand spun yarn. I will leave it linked below if you would like to know more details about it. And no, I did not get new glasses. These are actually very old glasses that I've had almost since I was prescribed to wear glasses full time. It's getting to be time for me to get some new glasses, and all of my glasses are getting a little bit rough around the edges, so I'm trying to switch it up more. These are actually my favorite pair of glasses that I own, but they do not have blue light blocking on them like my other glasses do, so yeah. Also, one more thing. We have Miko behind us today. I just need to point that out. He's here taking a nap, and I love him. So what does all of this mean for 2026? Don't worry if you were thinking it. It does not mean I will be here less. I am not planning on removing myself from YouTube, but I do actually think that by implementing some of these other plans that I have, I will actually be able to make more space for myself to be more present in this little business of mine. So I do have a couple of actual like number goals that are more measurable, and then I have some other loosey-goosey, vibey type goals. So here we go. My first number goal is that I would like 30 skeins or less in my stash up here on my shelf. I don't think you can see, I think you can only see my fiber shelf, which actually I have let some yarn eke onto. But I would like 30 skeins or less. It's just a number I picked. If I get to 32 and don't make it to 30, is that fine? Yes. I'm currently at 42. What I really want is for all of my skeins to fit on that shelf so that I can see every single one of them. And that is what I want. And continuing with my vibe of this aesthetic stash down that started this whole journey, I want it to feel inspiring. So the only reason I said 30 is because I feel like that will get me to a place where I can see all of the skeins that are there and they all have room to breathe. I'm a little nervous about this, actually. It doesn't seem like that big of a commitment, but it honestly kind of is because I don't have really many plans for what I currently have on that shelf, and I don't have a lot of multi-skein things. So it's a lot of single skeins that I don't really have plans for. So we'll see. We'll see what happens and we will get there. Are you crooked? Did I move you? We're just gonna leave it because we've already filmed most of the video like this and, you know, moving on. Unrelated to fibery things, but related to my room and my space and my creative zone, I would like to have 100 books or less that are unread on my shelves. So right now I have all of my books over here, and there has been a little bit of leakage over to some bookshelves over on this side of me. I have 8 shelves across 2 bookcases, so technically like 4 levels of shelves. I would like to get to a place where I can have 2 that are unread and 2 that are read. That is what I would like, and I would like all of these books that are over here to not be there anymore and to be over here. I'm currently at 168 unread books. I know, one, we're here for yarny, fibery things, not books. 2, that's a lot of books that not a lot of people have that in their lives. But I work in publishing. It's kind of what I do. Books were my thing before I started this. So that's where I'm at. And this office is a shared space for yarn and books. So to get my life in order, to do all the things, wow, you can really see my computer and my glasses, I'm sorry. I need to work on that. I need to get my books making me happy as well. So I'm currently at 168 books, and to get to 100 or less is a very scary thing, because that means I have to read a lot of my physical books this year. I did hit my goal of reading 100 books last year, but a lot of those were audio. Also, I borrowed a lot of books from the library. So I really, really, really need to focus on this. I still want to maintain that general idea of 5 whips or less at a time. Honestly, right now, for the past month, I have been having like 2 to 3 whips at a time, and that feels so good. And if I could keep it that way, that would be awesome. But I'm okay with getting up to 5, at least as of right now. But the less whips, the better. It has been feeling good, and I want to keep it up. And also tied to that, again, don't worry, but I want to have less pattern releases this year so that I can devote more to the pattern releases that I have. I released 13 patterns in 2025. So that's more than one a month. And I didn't release any in December. So there were 2 months in there where I released 2 patterns. And while it was great, and I love all of my patterns, and I don't feel like it was a bad thing for me to release all those patterns in 2025, I also feel like I don't need to keep up that momentum. I chose not to release a pattern in December, and honestly, that felt so good. So I think I would like to focus on really making my designs exactly the curated collection of patterns that I would like them to be. So instead of feeling like I have to fill that spot, if I don't have something for February, then I don't have something for February. And that means I can promote my March design even more. I can put more effort into it, and I can really maybe show you the process along the way instead of just trying to crank things out. So I still want to aim for like at least 10 patterns this year, but the more than one per month is probably not going to happen again. Unless I like write a book or something, but there are no plans for that. Don't get your hopes up. Now we have to go into our less measurable goals and our more vibe-based things. And the first one is to use more of what I have. Now, we all know that I am someone that bounces around from thing to thing. I flit from obsession to obsession and craft to craft, and I get into things, and I buy every supply that has ever been needed for that thing, and then I do it for a little bit, and then I find another thing, and I buy every supply that could ever be needed, etc. I'm not gonna stop doing that. I'm not gonna stop the flitting. It's been the way I've been forever. It's not gonna end. We all know this. It's just not. I'm going to keep getting different interests and bounce all over the place. But I think at this point, I have in my possession enough tools for just about every craft that I could potentially become interested in. And I really would like to try to use what I have instead of feeling like I have to buy more. I don't need more things. I don't need more things. I think maybe I don't have like the best X, Y, and Z for whatever craft, but I have something that I can use in its place. And I think that's what I need to focus on more, is like maybe that tool isn't gonna be the end all be all. I can use something that I have instead. If I want to, I don't know, make bracelets with embroidery floss, I can use the colors that I currently have first before I go buy new ones. You know, things like that. Because I have so much to play with and I love it all. But I think I would like to try my best to play with what I already have. Actually, I should change my goal to that. Instead of use what I have, play with what I have. That will help my brain. And then it's also going to tie into some of my financial goals for the year. Next, I want to consume less / be on my phone less. And I actually already started this. Over the summer, about 6-7 months ago, I started adjusting some things within my life. I won't get into them too much here, but how I really interact with my phone, how I interact with my computer and technology in general. I have been assessing it a lot and stepping away a lot. And this has caused some people to get a little frustrated with me and how fast I respond to things, but it has also given me a lot of brain space. And I want to continue this so much. I have really been deep diving into it and really assessing how stepping away from so much technology has jump-started my creativity in certain ways. If you would like to know more about this whole journey that I've been on, let me know, because it has been wild. And I really, really want to keep going. I, of course, backslide a little bit. You know, we are in an era of technology and social media, and I need social media to find work, to get my job done, to reach all of you. But there are healthy ways to do that and times to do that and all of that stuff, which brings me into my next goal, which is to set up work hours. And this is another thing that I've been trying to work on. It's very, very difficult for self-employed people to figure out their life. Sometimes it can be hard for the self-employed to find a distinction between work and non-work. And I am the owner of 2 businesses, both of which do not really have specific hours that I need to be working. They are both fluid. Yarn orders come in when yarn orders come in. Yes, I can schedule things and schedule releases and launches and stuff like that, but there's also fluidity to it, and wholesale orders and shows that pop up and things like that. That's not the most easily scheduled. And then with my books that I work on, I get contracts in. Every book is a different length. They take different amounts of time to work on. I might get a contract on a Monday. I might get a contract on a Wednesday. It might have a due date of 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 days. So I don't know. There are days that I have to work more, days that I have to work less. Anyway, the point is, I want to figure out work hours for myself, and I want to stick to them. And I also think that this is something that as a society we need to work on, but personally, I need to work on. I think we all expect people to be there answering you at any point of the day because we're so used to always having the phone in our hand. And so it's like, I know you're there. I know you saw the message. Like, just answer me. But that's not healthy to expect that of people, and it's not healthy to expect it of yourself. So I do think that it's something that I'm gonna have to struggle with a little bit of like, okay, no one's gonna have a yarn emergency that can't wait until the next business day, the next morning at 9 a.m. You know, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. And if people can't respect that of me, then maybe they're not my ideal customer. And I need to start by respecting that for myself. So I'm going to try and find the balance. I'm probably going to stumble. If you are trying to reach me, I will not get offended if you poke me because like I said, I'm probably going to stumble in my attempts to figure this out. But here's hoping that we can find a groove and stick to it, and it's gonna be great. Now, another thing that's a kind of more dreamlike goal is that I would like to be more present with you in a way that I don't know yet. So if you have any thoughts or ideas, please let me know. I've thought about starting a newsletter. I do have a newsletter, but I don't really send out any information other than when there's something important to tell you, a sale or a release or a new coupon code or something like that. I don't do newsletters like what's going on in my life or, you know, what's, I don't know, behind the scenes type things. So I've thought about doing that, trying to figure out a schedule for that, but I don't know if that is wanted, if I should do something more along the lines of behind the scenes on YouTube so that it's all in one place. But I want to try to figure out something to connect with you a little bit more as humans, rather than just coming here, posting my video, responding to my comments once a week, and then doing it all again the next week. So if you have any thoughts on that, let me know. That one's kind of just a pie in the sky, floating around in my brain kind of thing that I don't have any tangible thoughts for yet. So we'll see. I do also, of course, have other goals for this year that are financial or business related or fitness, wellness, life, household, all of the things, all those types of goals that I'm not going to talk about here because I wanted to keep things more relevant for you. But as you might know, I love using Notion to organize everything in my life. I have the trackers and the templates and the everything for all of those goals and big plans. So if you would like to see any of that or get more information or more details, let me know. I'm happy to share. But yeah, other than that, I do feel like these goals are attainable. I'm happy with them. They feel inspiring, and honestly, I already feel like I have a weight lifting off of my shoulders. Things feel lighter and freer, and I do get a little bit overwhelmed thinking about the process of getting there, getting to the point where I have less things, because in general, in my life, I want to own less things. It's not just yarn. It's not just books. I want less stuff in my house. And the thought of going through all of the things to get to the point of having less things is very daunting. But the thought of being on the other side of it is very exciting. So comment below, let me know what your goals are for 2026. And honestly, you don't have to have goals if you don't want to. Do you have a word of the year? Do you have any things that you want to focus on? Let me know. And also make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel so that you can see me as I go through this journey. Let me know if you would like updates on it as well throughout the year, or if you just want to watch it happen in real time. Thank you so much for spending time with me. Take care of you, and I will see you later. Bye.